Welcome to Le Foot, your podcast about French football, and we are back now to talk about the latest from the World Cup in US, Mexico and Canada, where a lot of interesting things have happened. And we give you our thoughts. Stay with us. On y va.
All right, boys. Happy to be back with you. I think our listeners know that the last couple of episodes has been played, in beforehand. So this has actually been a few weeks since we met up, and nice to be here.
Super nice. It's like a month, I think, since we sat down, and there's happened a lot of things in the World Cup. There's happened a lot of things, of course, on the signing front in Liga. So many nice things. But we are here together also for another reason. Mm-hmm. We're here to play a golf tournament. Over 2 days, we're sitting actually in a very beautiful spot, seeing the greenery and the blue skies. It's a morning with
like
coffee.
Like a mini gazebo.
A gazebo.
Yeah, almost like a gazebo.
Yeah. I don't know what it's called but we're basically almost sitting outside. We're drinking coffee, morning sun.
Yeah.
Golf is about to be played, and but first, football is about to be talked.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, and I'm just thinking now we are in the quarterfinals. France played Morocco last night. But just to you guys, how much of the World Cup have you watched so far? I mean, most of countries here in Europe, you get affected with the time difference and all that. Mm. But how many games have you guys seen? And what are your thoughts, on an overarching perspective about the games and the stadiums and, the heat, everything? How much have you watched?
I think I've watched maybe a third of the games or something. And, it's... extravagant being in the US, and all the arenas, they're huge, and it's I think Mr. Trump said that it's like every game is a Super Bowl level kind of event.
I think they're coming to realize the massiveness of football now that they host it themselves in America. I think Mexicans, they already know they are football crazy, but for the Americans and the Canadians to actually realize the vast massiveness of football, I think that's a finally for me, because it is the biggest happening in the world, the World Cup, and I have seen similar amount of games as you, Dennis. I think the time difference is tricky. I started cracking the code a bit about watching the night match. Actually, Mexico-England. I watched it the day after.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
Because I was I don't want to miss this. This is the World Cup for me.
And that's probably one of the best played games so far.
So far, it was in Azteca Stadium in Mexico City. It was just a lot of drama, VAR. Overall thoughts, I must say, the stadiums have been fantastic. I think the tournament overall is a massive success. I think there is, the stadiums, huge stadiums in Boston or in New York, New Jersey, and they are filled with people. No matter what teams are playing, you're going to see full crowds. But VAR, of course, that has taken a central role. But I'm not surprised by that. VAR in a compact tournament will take a central role if it exists. So anyone who wants VAR and then complains about VAR taking such a central role, I think it has to. That's just a thought, refereeing from my perspective. But I thought there's been a lot of great matches too.
Yeah. There has been a lot of great matches, and now we are in the quarterfinals, as mentioned. I mean, France beat Morocco yesterday, and throughout the 90 minutes, they went through. They've deserved very much to go through, which they did, and I would say that Morocco barely had any chances.
Yeah, no.
So not a walk in the park, but France was just 2 or 3 levels too much for Morocco. But apart from that, we got a couple of other quarterfinals. Which teams do you see ending up in the final? For myself personally, I see it being very even between France and Spain in the semi-final. I think France will pull the last draw there, and then they will face England in the final, who's going to beat Argentina in the semis. That's what I think, and then France win in the final.
But here you're assuming that England beats Norway. Are you? Yeah. How sure are you of England beating Norway?
I think Norway beating Brazil. Also, I think throughout the 90 minutes they did so because they were the better team. But I think England, for them, is a team which they will not play or have the opportunity to play as well against, because England is a team who can be better than them in their type of playing. And in their type of playing, I'm thinking, somewhat physical, being capable of running the ball like in longer fields, like throughout the game, because I just think England overall is a better team, like on almost every position in terms of Norway. And I mean, Kane is definitely comparable to Haaland, so I think they will just with their physique and the quality of play just be able to smash Norway.
Because I think that is one of the exclamation marks, of course, and as Swedish people we can have our feelings about it, that Sweden is out and Norway is a big success, but that is one of the exclamation marks, that Norway is through and they're gonna play quarterfinal against England. But I totally agree there with you. If you get carried away thinking that Norway, because of what they did to Brazil, can just go on and keep beating big nations, I think Brazil, I just want to mention there, I think Cunha, Martinelli and Vinny up top, that is a different from Kane, Bellingham, Gordon even. Like, England is a well put together squad. As the starting 11, it's quality throughout. And Norway, I would say Haaland, Ødegaard. I mean, they have this winger. He has been producing.
I wouldn't say Ødegaard has been that good this World Cup, though. Even though he got the quality, but he hasn't really shown it yet. So I think if Norway has to have any chance of actually going through against England, he needs to step up, because it's been a Haaland show, I would say.
Yeah, it is a one-man show. I agree with that. But I think England definitely favorites, and I would say, I'm just gonna be honest, I'm rooting for them to go through in that match at least. But another call out, I would say there's been the match Egypt-Argentina, and crazy. It's Argentina is still in the tournament, but they were about to head out versus Egypt, which is another positive exclamation mark. Egypt, I think Morocco, you mentioned they were disappointing against France, but it's France. Egypt against Argentina played a perfect match for 80 minutes, and then everything went down the drain. What do you give these talks about the referee there? I mean, there's been a lot of anger.
I mean, I could see where they're coming from, and it also brings up, an even bigger discussion, considering that how long can you go back to, claim that free kick? But that's another topic. I mean, just in terms of the game here, I mean, they did score 2-0 anyway.
They did.
So, I mean, I'm just thinking from an objective perspective. If they would have scored that first 2-0, I don't think they would have scored a 3-0, and then, the match would have gone the way it went.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, you still got the 2-0. I understand you're upset, but if someone's to blame, it's yourselves. Like, you lost it within the last 10 minutes. You didn't lose it because of the referee. So I'm not fully convinced with all the anger coming from Egypt, even though I understand some of it. I'm not fully with all of it there.
No, I think it went a bit over the top. But I must say, we have these, as I said in the beginning, I mean, VAR is going to be central to any football tournament now, because it's a part of the refereeing. But I think that specific, I just want to reinstate what I heard on in the television studio, is that the rule is that when you take the ball and do a counter-attack, the referee can go back all the way, including that situation where you conquer the ball. And that they did. So in VAR, if you look at the rule book, I think they did correct by ruling out this goal. I think what the Egyptians are also angry about is, should they have done that for one of the Argentinian goals, when I think Salah was semi-fouled?
That was not a penalty.
No, I agree. But you know what? It's almost like finding, not excuses, but finding reasons to be even more angry. I think leave it and be angry that you went out. You did a perfect match for many minutes, but then you lost the plot. Similar Senegal, they had 2-0 versus Belgium until there was 5 minutes left, and then they start focusing a lot on the refereeing. They start focusing on different things. I think you see this with some nations losing the plot.
I think, as far as the games I've watched and, what you've read throughout the days in the media, poor performances from the referees. One, yesterday, the referee who was, not blowing the whistle when Mbappé was going to shoot his penalty against Morocco. That was bad. And then whatever that referee was doing in the game before France played versus Paraguay. Paraguay was, playing like a couple of lumbermen's. I don't know, lumberjackers. I don't know what they were doing. I mean, because there was that game was also poorly refereed, and in that game, I also want to bring up the Prime Minister of Paraguay. She went out. I think it was not only Mbappé. He answered, but it was the entire French team, saying disgusting things about.
Yeah, most Mbappé, I think.
Was it mainly to Mbappé?
Mainly to Mbappé, and I think she's like a politician somehow, but not prime minister.
Okay.
So, but still, it's horrible, and it's crazy. And she's doubling down on these terrible comments. She's not backing off. I mean, they're going back and forth now. I've understood, and she is getting worse and worse by every comment.
But I think Mbappé has Macron in his pocket, and
the dictator.
I think so.
Yeah, okay.
Or I mean, they're friends at least.
Yeah,
Mbappé
he has his phone number.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that Mbappé is almost a politician in terms of his the people he knows around him. So you can't just go brawling against him and don't expect that he will have people that's going to step up for him if these would go even further to court or anything. I don't think that's going to happen, but I mean, if it would, he can definitely bring up some guys to back him up for sure.
Yes,
for sure.
For sure. But Dennis, what's your take? I know you were also a bit furious watching the Paraguay-France match. I mean, there was some Paraguayans that you couldn't let go.
Oh, good God. Galarza and Cáceres was...
complete shit show.
Yeah, complete shit show. I think they were more focused on harassing Mbappé and the forwards instead of just focusing on playing good football.
Yeah, I think that it was a standout performance on a negative side. But any other call-outs, guys? I mean, there's been a lot of fantastic matches, and of course, the more matches being played, the more matches you forget. But in terms of Liga, we need to mention Balogun scoring, I think 4 goals in total before they head out. But we have a situation there. We have a red card versus Bosnia in I think it's one of the playoff games after the group stage. He scores a goal, he gets sent off, direct red card for a clumsy tackle. It can be debated. If we start there, should Balogun have been handed that red card in the first place, do you think?
I mean, spontaneously, no, but I mean, watching a lot of Liga and also the Premier League, I've seen red cards being taken for those kind of tackles.
Yeah, because it's clumsy and it's a bad tackle. The ankle is.
But then I guess it's also one of them things here. The hosting nations going through to the next stage, losing their best players. I mean, it is debatable, but what it all boils down to, I think, is the fact that Trump, who's basically, somewhat, understand me correctly here. He controls the world. He points a finger, things sets in motions. So, I mean, him calling FIFA. I don't know if he called Infantino specifically, but he called someone.
Yeah.
Saying that apparently he didn't say more than what everybody's thinking. What I said. He shouldn't got a red card. Is there something we can do? And then they withdraw that. I don't know. It's just you're out on slippery ice here. What can this affect also in terms of the future? If this is acceptable now, I saw England also for Kwanzaa now making a similar call, but apparently Keir Starmer or whoever doesn't have the same
authority
power to.
No, but and I think France, was it only say yellow? Like they've been appealing to remove it because that was not a yellow against Paraguay with the shithousery. I think every nation will do that now because FIFA's the trustworthiness and the transparency and everything with FIFA, it can no longer be. I mean, FIFA has been dodgy, but now I feel it's the next level, and this might break FIFA. Not break FIFA, it's a very powerful organization, but I think Infantino for the future, it needs to be put in question because you cannot have a political leader for a country impacting football. A red card is a red card because the referee said it's a red card and it should stay. unless there is an independent review that will, sometimes it happens they clear a red card, but this is not one of those scenarios. It can be red, it can be yellow as well, but it happens on the pitch, it stays there. It's not, I feel that it's very shaky territory. I just want to mention though, kudos to, it can't be an easy position for Balogun. He got a red card, and then all these things happen in the background, and the whole world is watching him when they played Belgium and went out with 4-1, because that's the match he shouldn't have been playing. And we like Balogun. We've seen him do great things both in the World Cup, but before that in Liga. What a situation.
Yeah, it's super weird.
It's
I
crazy.
think it's super weird. And like, where does it end?
Where does it end?
But I want to switch now to other themes. Germany first. I mean, they went out against Paraguay. What do you guys think about Germany's performance in that game and also in the tournament?
I think in that match it was Paraguay did the same game plan a bit as they had versus France, this destructive kind of football, but that Germany couldn't handle it over 90 minutes plus added time and then penalties. It's just too poor from Germany, and I think overall they had an okay tournament up until that point, but after that it's a disaster. I mean, for a country like Germany to go out, we would have seen Germany-France, and I think that would have been a football match to remember. With all the players that Germany has, Musiala, I know he's, coming off a long injury, and but you have Wirtz, you have
did a good tournament.
Yeah, you have star players, and they go out against Paraguay, and Paraguay's biggest star is Enciso in Strasbourg. We seen him do good things, but it's not a man to lead a nation, bringing Germany out of the tournament. I think it's a disaster.
But then also, Nagelsmann now is left, and I think Klopp is already confirmed. If not signed, it's somewhat confirmed. But Nagelsmann he became in charge of Germany a couple of years ago. So was he also the coach in the Euros 2 years ago?
Yes.
Okay, but then, however, he's been somewhat of a big name the last 5-7 years or so, but I couldn't see how he wanted to play with Germany, even though they don't have the biggest of stars anymore. They're not comparable to France or Spain or Portugal. In terms of player per player. But how did they want to play? Against Paraguay, it felt like they created nothing. It was hard to watch Germany in some games because I didn't feel like there was that powerhouse that they once used to be. So it's been a lot of discussions now also that Klopp wants to do big changes in terms of the whole structure of Germany, youth players and all that, to kind of bring back some type of football, because I don't know what type of football they play this World Cup.
No, I think they have technically very gifted and well-developed players, but I think I'm a bit old school here. I talk about many clubs, many nations like this. I think they lack, first of all, someone up front who is very direct. I think Kai Havertz is a great football player, and I watch Arsenal a lot. I would say he's, with his feet, a great footballer. He's also clever, but he's not Klose or even later stages like a Füllkrug who penetrates defenses with force. I think he is a great comrade for Wirtz and all these gifted players, but I agree with you. I don't see what they want to do, and let's see what Klopp can do, because this is not a small change you're talking about. Restructuring youth football or digging that deep into a country. We can talk, we haven't even mentioned our national team, because we have issues. I would say not maybe in the front mainly, but we have structural issues with the kind of football players we are producing the last 10 years. In Sweden, and I think a little bit the same with Germany. It's great footballers, but are they the winners, the leaders? Are they, you used to have Müller, Schweinsteiger, even in the defense, Jerome Boateng. You had this connection of players, and these players with the character. I don't see anyone in the German 11. Maybe it's like Rüdiger, who has the warrior mindset, but he's not that kind of player to me anyway.
No, there's no Mbappé level kind of player in the team, I feel like.
That as well. I mean, the height of the superstars is not on the French level.
Yeah, no.
That is another one, but that's always tricky. How can you restructure your youth programs to develop a new Mbappé? I think that's but I agree that there is a lack of that. Mbappé, every nation on the world would need an Mbappé, except maybe Norway. They have Haaland there.
Yeah. By the way, insane. I think Haaland has done a
we have
insane, but Germany hasn't delivered well at all.
And the Haaland, if we stay there, Jeff, what's your? I mean, if you rate his performance this World Cup 0 to 10, what do you give him?
I mean, with the 2 goals against Brazil, I think it's hard to say anything less than a 10. I mean, as up until now, 10 out of 10. Also considering that it's his first World Cup. And I think it's for all of players. It's the first World Cup. They haven't played the World Cup in over 20 years or something. So it's the first World Cup for all of them. They had a tough group. They took a gamble playing with their B side against France. So technically, Haaland has played 90 minutes less compared to Messi and Mbappé, and he's still on 7 goals. And it's not only tap-ins. I mean, he's scoring headers, shot outside the box, and he's also contributed to a lot of chances to his teammates. So he's not only scoring himself, he's also helping them. It was a lot of times against Brazil, I felt like they played this long ball, and every time he's brawled into Gabriel, somehow got the ball, played it back to Ødegaard or something.
No.
And there's barely any other player up front. Mbappé, he doesn't do that. I mean, he plays differently, so you can't really compare that. But every time Norway was in a low block, long ball to Haaland, ball against Gabriel, played it back to someone. So, I mean, he's an immense force, and I think it was really funny also that ahead of the Brazil game, Kygo, the DJ, Norwegian DJ, very big, said that he would release Haaland's DJ song he made when he was like 15 or so if he scored against Brazil, which he did. So now there's like a Kygo Haaland mix on Spotify and everything.
We're gonna blast that on the golf course today.
Yeah.
And I think also that, I mean, a lot of people have become very fond of Haaland because he seems very humble. How he...
I am a new fan.
Yeah.
I've been critical. I'm not a fan of Manchester City and their whole thing, but I must say, after seeing him in the World Cup and also seeing his demeanor, like you say, the humbleness, but also the leadership. This whole Norwegian team, you mentioned in the beginning, they don't have that kind of quality players behind Haaland, but he makes them better. I think he is a great teammate. You know what I mean? He doesn't have this fear leadership. I feel I am not in that locker room.
Not a dictator.
No. I think Haaland is great, but he's not a dictator. And I like that. It resonates with me that you have... I mean, we talk about the lack of leadership maybe in Germany, in Sweden. Man, in Norway, they have the big man up front who is leading the way, and he's doing so with grace and power. I mean, it's a unique kind of football player, and he's a unique kind of character. And as a Swede, it pains me to say, but I mean, I can only give him a warm applaud. And because also it's the way you talked about the header, you talk about the goals versus Brazil. The second one he bombs in, it looks like prime Zlatan from outside, and then the first header, he makes like an Arsenal defender in Gabriel look like a, I don't know, Division 4 player. That's how strong and good Haaland is. He goes to the world-class defender and he makes them look small. He makes them look late, slow. He makes them look bad. But that's not because they are. I mean, Marquinhos and Gabriel is one of the best central defenders couple in the World Cup. But they have nothing on this one Norwegian guy.
I think he's so it's so interesting to see him play. He's so like explosive in his movements, and I think you need someone like Upamecano or something to stop a guy like that. You need a big strong guy against Haaland, or else it's not going to work.
Yeah, and you would think that Gabriel has those attributes, but I think they also know each other well from the Premier League, and their Haaland has a big advantage. But you talk about Upamecano. I think this one, you talk about the England-Norway game. It's tomorrow night. We're gonna watch it out here in the cottage with a lot of booze, a lot of beer. But I want to ask you, how do you think Haaland will do against that England defense?
I think that's where the difference is, because I wouldn't say. I mean, when Holland scored at 2-0, at least, you know, they were chasing the equalizer. But I wouldn't say Brazil had the midfield, because it's not only about the defender. You also need a midfield. So I think that's one of the reasons which will make it easier for England compared to Brazil, because they have Declan Rice playing in that lower block. So I mean, they will have up from Konsa and Gui, they will also have Declan, you know, who will be the first shield. I didn't really see Brazil having that in terms of defense. So I think that will make it a lot easier for England overall to, you know, when they are put on the spot, to defensively be a lot stronger, better, more physical. But I mean, then again, a good ball in, Pickford a bit slow, a bit short as well. I mean, Haaland could definitely score that as well. But I think overall, defensively, England is better, more structured, and that will make it a lot tougher for Norway.
Yeah. I have a question. We talk about Haaland and his fantastic performance. But if we cannot mention Haaland, who has been your standout player of the World Cup tournament so far?
That's a good question. I haven't watched much of Haaland before, actually, so I think I have to give huge props to him. It's interesting to see him play.
He's unique.
Yeah, it's very unique.
But so you're doubling down on Haaland. But if you're not allowed to pick Haaland,
yeah, if you're not allowed to pick Haaland,
Galarza, Paraguay.
God. No.
I think
I'm a bit surprised with Messi. I think. I mean, he's been the best player in the world, and I don't know if he still is, but given the things he's contributed to Argentina
At that
age, 39.
You know what? I agree with you there.
And I think it's, I mean, starting off with 3-0, a hat-trick.
You know what? It was like the feeling, give him all the personal trophies you can after that first match, 3-0.
Yeah.
And you know what? I didn't think about it, but you're right. I think standout performer overall.
Yeah.
Jeff, do you have any? We have Haaland, you cannot pick. Dennis has picked Messi.
I mean, Messi is Messi, and I think a lot of this praise also considers that he's 39, scoring all these goals. But I don't think Argentina's really been put into the tests. I mean, it's been a lot of discussions about that also. I mean, look at who they're facing compared to the other teams. They've played Algeria, Austria, Jordania, Cape Verde, and Egypt. To be fair, it's shit teams all through. Messi has scored, he has been good, but and I mean, he's also one of the top players, you know, so I understand that. But no, I wouldn't put him up there. I think Argentina is a bit of a fraud. I mean, it's up to them to be tested now. They're also playing Schweiz now.
Yeah.
So I mean, I really hope that England, you know, shows their best quality and smashes them in the semi-final, because they've had an easy teams so
But
far.
you know what?
true.
I think Switzerland's gonna give them a hard match.
I hope so. I hope so.
I think so. I think Switzerland. I don't like watching Switzerland. It feels like not really a footballing nation to me. But they have some good players. We have Mbolo from Ligue 1 who has been doing a good tournament. They beat Colombia. Colombia were thought to be going far, and we have Switzerland. I wanted Colombia and Argentina in that match. It would have been a South American roundup, which would have been fantastic. But they're gonna be tested totally, and I didn't actually reflect on that line of matches that Argentina has been had. It's the easiest route, I think, out of all nations remaining.
And they were so close to going out against Egypt, and that would have been a fiasco.
Oh, the absolute fiasco, and we should give kudos to Egypt again. That what a performance they put on. But okay, if I need to pick someone, I mean, we have to mention Mbappé here. He's been leading this fantastic France team. It feels like they haven't even breaking a sweat in their shirts because they are so good. Mbappé, but I think to think about some other player which has kind of left a mark.
I mean, it's Caden Bellingham, isn't it?
Bellingham.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a bit, it's the news recency here when it comes to Bellingham, but that performance against Mexico, when he sometimes puts England on his shoulders and carries them through. A tough match. It's raining in Mexico City. 70,000 Mexicans cheering their team on. The team doing a great performance, Mexico. And then Bellingham just steps in. It's 2 goals. He's running box to box. He clears balls in the defense and then makes a run and then scores a goal. He is like a super player. And but maybe there we are. We have Messi, Haaland, we have Bellingham, and we have Mbappé as standout performers. None of them should be a surprise though. Maybe Messi with age, but...
That also sounds like King of the Jungle. Have you seen Zlatan's list on Fox? I think that's really nice. There's I think it's Lalas or something it's called, the American guy, and then it's Henry and Zlatan in Fox. It's so funny to follow them. And Zlatan has, like, he calls it King of the Jungle or something like that. So he has a list after each game.
What a name.
He plays this is so funny as well. I'm gonna get to that. So it's a board, and then he like puts up Mbappé to place 2, puts down to Messi to 3rd, stuff like that. But the person who's always on the number 1 list is Zlatan himself. So Zlatan himself is up there, and then he puts all the others. It's so funny. I don't know if you follow Zlatan on Instagram, but it's so much of this, and then I go in and follow. He and Henry has such a nice bond, it feels like.
Yeah,
so it's
I just
really
see some
nice to
clip
follow.
of them. Yeah, and aren't they mocking also the American guy a little bit?
Lalas or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he also, brings up discussion to kind of pressure Henry and Zlatan.
Okay.
So
they have
it's a nice
found
watch.
Fox Sports have found a dynamic trio and that maybe one of the other stars here is the television Zlatan, because that's maybe something we will see then if he's a success. I mean, he's a character. But yeah, then maybe the list matches with them. It will be fun to have some, because we need to mention a bit also, we had a list ahead of the World Cup of Liga players to keep an eye on. And Hakimi, now he's out, but he has done a great tournament up until the match versus France now in the quarterfinals. We also mentioned Balogun. I mean, he didn't disappoint anyone. It was disappointing what happened with FIFA, but Balogun himself didn't disappoint. Maybe in the Belgium game, he would have needed to do some firing because that defense was terrible. But Sulch, any thoughts?
He didn't show up.
Looking
But
for
Czechia as a whole didn't
no
step up.
same level as Sweden, kind of. One of those.
But they didn't even go through, right?
No, they didn't go through. But going through as a 3rd team in a group, in a way, I'm against that as well. If we speak about the tournament as a whole, they should bring back 2 teams, 2 nations qualifying from a group. Otherwise, it's kind of like you're drawing yourself through. Even Cape Verde, I mean, they did a good tournament. Kudos to them with the means and the population that they have in size.
Yeah.
They
But
have 530,000 population.
yeah, that's crazy. And I mean, a massive performance from them. I don't want to take anything away, but it's similar with Sweden. The nations that go through as number 3 in the group, I find it strange. We grew up with a football world where only 2 out of 4 go through.
But I mean, I'm kind of in between there, because I get what you're saying, but then also, I mean, I love more games.
Yes, that is true.
So this is a factor of the tournament expanding. I think it would be hard to, how would you set it up if not the trees and all that? But then also putting into proper, or like, okay, before the World Cup, it was Klose. He was the top goal scorer, 14 goals or 16 or whatever. But then now, when you expand the tournament, I mean, it goes hand in hand. More teams, a lot of the more teams that comes in are shittier teams, easier to score. That's the reason why we have all these players up on the top have scored 7, 8 goals. I think that's a factor of that as well.
Yeah.
And then we have 3 players now that scored more goals than Klose. Or Mbappé and Messi. I don't know if Kane also has scored more than Klose now. But that's a factor of all of this. But then again, I mean, I don't mind having 4 games to watch in the group stage every day because I love watching them.
No,
so I'm a bit in between there.
I hear you. More nations in, it's actually more fun, and I think that's been a success because many of these nations have proven that they have quality. We talk about Cape Verde. I mean, they have proven that we can be in the World Cup and put on performances. Just ask Argentina there. I mean, I think that has been a success. You haven't seen a lot of Curacao were in trouble, but it's still fun to see new footballing nations making their mark. But it's just something, because you get to this thing, in my view, with this third position qualification. It's like Sweden. It's like, was it a good tournament? We made it through onto the next stage, which always feels like we did well. But then you think about us coming third, and we had that defeat against the Netherlands, and then going out against France. It becomes a bit hard to judge. Before, when it was 2 out of 4, it was if you make it through as a smaller nation, it's a success. Now that you can make it through on the third spot, because Tunisia turned out to be the punching bag in Sweden's group. But more nations, I agree that it has been a success. And overall, I would say the World Cup has been a tremendous success in terms of entertainment, if you focus on that.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And then, I mean, I guess you could also bring up, hydration breaks. Maybe you should only have them when there's actually played during the daytime, not because you want to have extra commercial breaks. And then, these small factors that they're counting down before the game starts, and it's a full house! I mean, it's getting Americanized, but then again, I mean, they are playing in America, so overall, me as a spectator, I don't care that much.
No, I think those things, for me, I agree with you, they are fine. The hydration break, though, I think it's becoming like a football match has 4 segments.
Exactly.
That I don't like. It's like 20 degrees in Vancouver. You can't play 23 minutes and then have water. No. You see the coaches. They are talking to all the players every hydration break. Yeah. Sweden against France. The hydration break changed everything. Sweden came out firing. Then French took a hydration break. I think they switched Olise and Dembele position. And Sweden had trouble from the first second after that.
Exactly, and that would have been something that probably would have more been a switch they would have done in halftime break, which would be fine. But now, as you say, again, you have like 4 times or 3 times at least to change the game tactically a lot more efficient.
Yes, and they reach out to the players in the middle of the halves, which has never been possible before, unless there's a big injury, for example. But then it happens. It's crazy. And how can it not be? It's easy to decide. If it's 30 degrees plus, do it. If not, don't do it.
Van Dijk spoke a lot about that, and I completely agree with him. I mean, it's common sense. Like everything you do in your daytime, like if it's hot outside, you bring a water bottle. I mean, if it's raining, you bring a jacket. Like, no, but honestly, I mean, it's not that hard to be like, okay, as you said, if it's over 25 and it's that humidity, let's do it.
Yes.
If it's not, we're not gonna have it.
No. They have sold these. It must be that they've sold these commercial slots, like you were talking about, and that they have to do it because it's crazy that they keep on going. It's mad.
Yeah, I dislike them a lot. I feel like it just kills the momentum of the game.
Yeah.
And now you're kind of waiting for that 22, 23, 24th minute, and it's like, here we go.
Yeah. No.
If I'm allowed to be a little bit also not romantic, but a bit like the beauty of football is that you kick off, then it's 45 minutes that you can't control. It's its own mechanism. But now it becomes 22 minutes and then it's a break. I think it kind of disrupts the whole flow of the football match as a spectator. I don't want to see 11 players talking to the coach in the middle of a half.
No, and I feel like also the overtime for both halves are like it's less playing minutes.
Yeah,
less minutes played.
And I mean, how long has the match been? I think on average it must be 105 minutes if you consider the extra time in. But of course, effective playing time, I guess, is the same as normal. But it's just okay. But I want to ask you guys. We talked before. Who do you have as a winner? You standing by France?
Yeah.
Dennis?
Going back to what you said earlier there, Jeff, with which 4 teams are going by now. I also think France, Spain, Argentina, and England. I think we're going to see Argentina and France in the finale, and I think France is going to take it.
That's a replay of last World Cup. If you have Argentina and France, I mean, it would be something to see because Messi grabbed that one with a spectacular performance.
I can't win the Ballon d'Or because of that.
If he wins the World Cup,
Nah.
if he wins the World Cup, give it to Messi. I would say give it because that's like 39 years old, the little man.
Yeah.
Imagine Ronaldo. I think he's gonna kill himself.
I think he's already considering some options because we need. Before we wrap this up, we need to speak about Portugal.
Yeah, we do.
Because that's a disappointment. Wow.
Yeah.
You have the best midfield in the world, some argue. Vitinha, Juan Neves, good defenders.
Yeah.
But then you have a 40-plus Ronaldo up top, which I think is just... It's a no.
Because I think that's also one of the reasons why Vitinha and Bruno Fernandes and them didn't play as well in their midfield. Because Vitinha and Juan Neves, right?
Yeah.
They took more of a defensive role in midfield, and Bruno took the one offensively. And then, because they need to play Ronaldo, they played him in that kind of position, like up top, because he can't move up as much playing as in a 4-3-3, he can't go up and down. So they play him there so, he can do his thing. He's not helping out as much defensively in the back. But I think Vitinha and Juan Neves, they didn't come to their best positions of play, and neither did Bruno, because they were just in the low block there.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons on their paper, like probably the best midfield in the whole tournament, didn't play as well as you would have hoped for.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of that Ronaldo, or a little bit at least with that Ronaldo up front.
I agree. And isolated. He stood like a statue up top. No team in football has ever done well with a statue up top. And then you can have all these fantastic players with passing and ball making. But like you said, they end up playing passing football too far down the pitch.
Yeah, and it was rarely that Vitinha got that ball into, that final place for Bruno either, because he was getting close to Ronaldo, and there was no space for him to make his tweaks and the assist. And I don't either like the fact that against Spain they played with João Felix. I would have rather seen Rafael Leao going on the offense because he's so quick. So I really hope for Portugal that Ronaldo is now leaving the national team.
He must be.
And he's gonna allow Portugal to develop without him.
Yeah, and of course, what's the option? They could have played Gonzalo Ramos. As you guys know, I'm not a massive fan, but compared to this Ronaldo, he would have been great, I think. They went out against Spain, so the disappointment is of course a little bit smaller, but I think because Spain is one of the favorites to win it all. But I also want to mention, before he went out injured, Nuno Mendes really stopped Jamal. I mean, if you look at the match within the match between the best, not maybe the absolute best, we have only seen them, but Jamal is top world class. And then
he's not been that good this World Cup because he came in, with a small injury. I don't think he played the first game and all that. And you've seen him against, I think it was Austria. He was good. He made a couple of tunnels on some players there, but he's not close as good as he was, in the Euros last season and stuff like that. But yeah, he's a good player. But
Nuno Mendes blocked him well.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. I think it was a blessing to see. Unfortunately, that Nuno Mendes had to go out. I think it was like before halftime or something, because of some injury or something. And
he's also a threat offensively. I can't remember if it was a shot or a header he had in the bar as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So. No, but that was a shit game, to be fair.
Very disappointing.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but it seems like when Spain is playing these big matches, the whole match tend to become a little bit of a disappointment.
But it felt like Portugal wasn't they didn't have the confidence to go for it, really.
No.
It felt like after minute 30, they were just rather playing low and letting Spain have the ball, which ultimately led to they got that chance in the end and scored it.
Yeah.
Because they were a bit afraid.
That's the kind of match you mark in your calendar as a must-watch. And given that you do that, it was such a disappointment.
Who do you think is going to win, Charlie?
No, I have to stick with France.
Yeah.
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 We have to, before we finish this episode off, just take a few minutes to both remember and pay our tribute to Eric Roy, the Brest manager, who very sadly passed away aged 58 now in June. He had been battling cancer for some years, and it's just devastating and sad news and such a terrible disease. Our thoughts go out to Eric Roy's family and the people close to him, and as well as the footballing France who knew him. And just to remember, I mean, he was a player of his own right back in the days, playing for clubs like Lyon, Marseille, even had a stint in Sunderland. And then as a manager, he did fantastic results with Brest. First ever participation in European football, which is just remarkable given the size of the club. But football is secondary, and we send our thoughts and prayers to Eric Roy's near.
That is it for this week. Follow us on socials, subscribe, and give us a rating wherever you listen to podcasts. Remember to tell a football-loving friend. For queries, you're always welcome to reach out at lefootpodcast@gmail.com. Have a great week and see you next Monday. Au revoir.